So the question isn't will I ever get married, is what will I sow to see it? The gospel is one of reconciliation to God, but also to one another.
Mm-hmm.
So the greater questions are, okay, who am I? Whose am I? But also, what have I been called to do?
Yeah.
Like for us, like our purpose, it comes through relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So inevitably with human beings being designed for relationship with God, but also relationship with one another,
Mm-hmm.
like that is a lot of times one of our bigger longings or our greatest desires.
Yeah.
Is like, who's my person? Like who's my
Yeah.
partner? Like
Yeah.
what am I, like
Yeah.
like for every single Christian, it's like, okay, God, like, will I ever get
Yeah.
Am I ever gonna get married?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah. Everybody else get married but me. What's going on, God? And to steward that season well, I do feel like there's specific things that people do not tell single Christians as they're navigating that season of singleness. And so we always talk about, like, we always hear, when you getting married, when you gonna settle down, when you gonna start a family. And that's great. We're excited. Like, like marriage is a gift, and God has called us to love our wives as Christ loved the church, but that should not be the primary focus a lot of times, because the other half of that conversation is like, all right, how have you been stewarding your singleness? How have you been allowing God to work in your life before you meet the person that God would have for you? And I feel like that should be more of the conversation versus like, all right, you should get married, hurry up, find your person. No, what they should be telling Christian singles is, hey, you need to focus on yourself.
Ooh.
There's some things that you need to cultivate. There's some things that need to be pruned out of you. There's some things that you need to steward well so that you can be prepared for in this next season of life. And I because even for myself, like, I feel like when and I think this is a good conversation for both of us to have, because we both can hit it from two different perspectives. I've walked through the season of singleness. You're currently in the season of singleness, and so I think that for the listeners, I feel like we can offer something to everybody in between. But I feel like when I was walking through my singleness, like, it was nobody told me that that there were some character traits in myself that I had to develop.
Yeah, for sure.
You always hear about the saying, like, you want to find you want to be the one that you're looking for is looking for. And that's great. Bruh. But like, what does that really mean? Like, I want to be the one that the person I'm looking for is looking for. And essentially, it's a great quote, but like, essentially it's just like, man, if I'm expecting somebody who to marry that loves God and is a great witness and has great character, I should probably be a person who loves God and has great character and has integrity. Like, and so for me, if I'm looking for that person, then I should aim to be that type of person. And so I need to spend time on my own cultivating myself by being in God's word. Like, being changed by, go ahead.
It's that question. Like, I think a lot of times in single Christians, like, we're asking the question out of our pain, our loneliness, just the disappointment of the expectation of what we thought it would be. Because culture has sold us a narrative. Like, we're living in a culture that is disrupting our everyday movements, our everyday routines and rhythms that are supposed to be times that we spend with God to hear him and discern him and move towards him and proximate with him. And so the question isn't will I ever get married, is what will I sow to see it? Like, what am I going to sow to see that in my future? And then what am I going to sow to allow God to heal me from my past? And what I mean by that, like, spiritual formation, it's not our job to heal or to free. Like, Jesus set the captives free, like, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. But what I am saying is that I believe that it is a partnership practically sometimes. So Jesus wants to bring spiritual deliverance to us, right? So the lepers, right? He healed them, but he said, go as you present yourselves to the priest, then you'll be cleansed, right? So a lot of times it is the spiritual deliverance piece of, I need to step into prayer, but it's also the practical sowing piece of, okay, have you called a counselor?
Yeah.
Like, have I sat with a therapist to
good
work
stuff.
through
Yeah.
what I'm dealing with? Am I putting myself in a position to experience theology and therapy?
Yeah.
Because it takes both. And also in my own self, my skill set going forward, like, have I, like you said, bro, have I really submitted to what a man of God really is?
Yeah.
And what a woman of God, am I sowing in accordance to that?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I think one thing that, like, I feel like I really tried to focus on was in my singleness was I wanna get everything out of me that I believe God has inside of me, and I'm gonna get every drop of that lemon. And so I remember making music. I'm always like, I'm in youth ministry. I'm doing all the things that I feel that God has called me to. Trying to get ready to go on missions trips. Constantly just evangelizing, reaching lost people. Like, man, and I really do feel like, man, that has kind of in some ways set the tone for me as I've moved into marriage, and honestly, like, all of that looks different now.
Yeah.
But man, that was a season where I took, and I was just like, bro, I'm going to make sure that God gets the glory out of me in every single area of my lives. And I feel like so many people are still just waiting to get married, waiting for that person, that you're forsaking the gift of singleness.
The current instruction.
Yeah, you're forsaking what God is currently giving you right now because you're so bent that you don't have a man yet.
Yep.
You so bent that you have not found your lady yet, that you are missing the opportunity for God to really move in through your life.
Yeah.
Because you just want to be booed up.
Yeah. It's
cuffing season.
Blinded by disappointment. Yeah. And it leads us a lot of times, like the disappointment that we navigate, like because of an expectation that we had, like it can blind us to where we live in deception.
Yeah.
And we don't move towards God, and we don't obey God.
Yeah.
So a lot of times our disobedience winds up causing some sort of delay. So now it's beginning to compound.
Yeah.
So I think, like if you look at, just Adam's life, where we're talking about, just sowing into what it is we want to see, like Adam takes responsibility. And that is a part of a single season. Like, Adam, here, I'm putting you in this garden. I'm putting you in a garden, not a basketball court. That's key.
Yeah.
Not a room. I'm putting you in a garden. I want to grow something. Like the tomb of Jesus is in the garden. Like, I want to grow something. And like the upside down nature of the kingdom is that, like, I'll turn a grave into a garden. You know what I'm saying? I'll turn like a season that you thought was desolate, like that maybe tried to describe itself as despairing. Like, I'll turn it into something that's beautiful. But you have to take responsibility of where I placed you, accountability of what I've given you, and sow it. Like, I've given you seed. Like, for the Son of Man sowed his life into the ground as a sacrifice, so that there might be a family of sons and daughters in the kingdom. So it is, okay, out of Jesus' sacrifice, I have been given seed. Yeah. And I have been placed in a place that I'm supposed to sow it. Are you sowing? Are you being obedient? Yeah. Have you allowed God to show you what you're trying to work towards takes? Like, you want woman of God. Do you want woman of God? Or do you want hot girl? Like, do you want saved girl? Do you want a hot girl? Do you want saved husband, or do you want bad boy? Like, what you want? Because a lot of times that's what's confusing us. Like, you say you want man of God. Like, do you know what woman of God is? Are you okay with what woman of God is? Yeah. Because woman of God is not an easy task. Yeah. Like, that's not easy. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Circular family? Look, we'll get back to the video in just 1 second. But listen, hey, if this content has been a blessing to you, there's a few ways that you can get more involved. The number one way is that you can cop our merch. Look, there's a link in the bio below. I promise you're going to love it. There's some great items there. Also, if you're looking to tap into community, you need some people. We have a Bible study that we do every Wednesday. Below in the bio, you'll see the group me where you can join and get all the links to all of our live Bible studies. Also, if you want to be a blessing and you want to give, your generosity goes a long way in everything that we do. So look, there's a few ways that you can do that. Through Cash App, Venmo, through PayPal. Again, everything that you give helps us be able to represent the message of belonging to everyone who needs to see it in Jesus Christ. Let's get back to the video.
If I'm really sowing towards the future, bro, like, and I can see what God has for me in the future. I can see what God has promised me. Like, yeah, you're exactly correct, man. Like, I gotta sow now to reap what I want to sow in the future. But like, also too, like, I do think that there is a level of, man, like there's got to be a level of like intimacy with God that can be developed during that time. Like I think about just being in the garden, like, you know, we don't get too much insight of what goes on in the garden, but there was a period of time where it was just Adam before woman. Now God did say it is not good for man to be alone.
Right.
But for however,
for a season. There was a season.
But there was a time period where it was just Adam and God. Adam intimately being with God. God speaking into his life. God being able to give him direction. God being able to give him assignment. Like that season of singleness should be for when you like for you to pick up your assignment. Like it is not for
pick it up,
because I feel like if we're not careful, the conversation to be like, man, I need to prepare myself now for my spouse. But like the conversations to be like, no, like I should be using my single season to be on assignment from God. God told Adam, hey, name these animals. This is what you're supposed to do. Like he did that before the woman came. Like God gave him an assignment. God gave him purpose. God gave him something that he should be doing, working with his hands. And that's what our single seasons. That's what, if you're not married, that is a majority of what your like the greater majority of your life should be. God, how do I serve you? Like God, how do I get how do I give you the glory through what I'm doing, whether it's on my job, whether it's, you know, in my church, or whatever the case is. But my primary focus as a single person shouldn't be, let me get ready for a spouse. It should be, man, am I on assignment from God?
Wow, bro. That's, you know, like Jesus says, if any man come after me, take up his cross and follow me. Like, let the world go. And have you taken up the cross of this season? Or are you putting it off? Like, I feel like there is a season to reckon and wrestle. Like, there are moments to reckon and wrestle with the call of God. Jesus did that. Come on. I sweat blood. Like, this was excruciatingly hard and mentally taxing. Like, I had to sit. That's healthy. Like, it is healthy for me to confront those questions and those emotions of, will this ever happen? Is how this going? Like, that, God is not intimidated by that. But at the same time, this is not where I can stay. Like, I know this is where you are. I love you here. I will cover you. I'll bless you here. But we gotta go. There is too much to get to. There's too much territory to take. And like, you know, bro.
And like, and I like how, like, you know, because I feel like the key word for our singles and being in your single season, and I feel like navigating through my single season, like, this is what I had to come to, is like the key word was contentment. I had to learn how to be content with what God had already given me. Like, I love how, you know, Paul tells us, listen, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Like, this is not a Tim Tebow, let me win a Heisman verse. I can do anything. I can, you know, I can win, or I can do better financially. I can be successful. That's not what this verse is talking about. Paul is talking about, hey, man, like, I've learned how to be abased and abound. I learned how to navigate this life with a lot, and I learned how to navigate this life with a little, because I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so like as we are content
with our cross,
as we're content with Christ, like, we should be doing stuff. It should, like, this should not just be like, all right, let me just sit and just wait. Like, no, there's things that we should be doing. And so, like, there's the key word for our single seasons, for our singles, is contentment. Hey, what's up, Circle Up fam? So glad that you were able to tune in today. I hope you were blessed by the conversation. Here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. It's going to help us so much. And hey, you can actually check out the full conversation by clicking the link in the bio below. Peace out.